Welcome to the real Monster D. That would be me. Have you ever had the unenviable task of cleaning out your entire closet? Did you ever find yourself digging through all of your various things and find yourself suddenly halted because you found one precious, near-forgotten artifact that whisked you back to the day that this item first came into your life? Well, imagine being enraptured in such emotion when your entire closet jumps out and envelops you. This is the story of the Molech. The Molech is a film project based around the title creature. This is quite a different film project than what I've ever seen before. See, normally, when you see a film, you see a trailer first, or maybe just see the film first, and perhaps see some behind-the-scenes footage after, right? You perhaps may have seen some behind-the-scenes featurettes on DVDs and Blu-rays and elsewhere. Some studios even use behind-the-scenes bits as little marketing ploys. I mean, Disney has done this much over the years with their animated features, as well as some of the Marvel movies, right? Then you have things like the Cloverfield franchise, where the entire marketing is showing you nothing about the movie until right before it comes out, sometimes even the day before. Well, the Molech is way different than all of this, for this is a special situation where the production actually seems to be even more important than the final product. In fact, I cannot tell you exactly when the Molech is coming out, but I can tell you about how it is evolving and changing. The Molech is a kind of a boogeyman that does not feed on fear so much as obtained memories from those around it. The Molech was created by artist Annalisa Barron at the behest of co-creators Sam T. Wilson and Xander Chauncey. These artists, as well as a bevy of super talented cast and crew, much one and the same, took great inspiration from the likes of Phil Tippett and Jim Henson, Tim Clark, and so many other just physical, practical artists. So this is sort of their welcome into that world, folding you in to a sort of Dark Crystal type world where you can actually interact with, touch the Molech itself. Because not only is it made with these artists, these creators, the Molech is also composed by you. That is right. For before the Molech exists the altar of the Molech, where you can come and leave your very own pieces of memorabilia, your very own memory-attached items, be they books or cloth or anything. And these get sewn into the very DNA of this monster, and it carries them with it. Yes. And I myself have actually left items in, on, and around the Molech. This was a very rare time when Monster Set met Monster Set. For, if you remember, the little short films I did, both for Pittsburgh Art All Night, as well as for trailers for this very season of The Real Monster D, you remember the Monster Attack city scenes I did? Well, those buildings, as well as some lighting fixtures and some other items, are actually all part of the Molech right now. So you could go and see the Molech, and in a way, it is like seeing a Monster D as well. And then you could also leave your imprint on the Molech, and then wherever this creature may go, it brings a little bit of you with it. So when you do finally see this film, it is kind of like watching a bit of your own memory on this film. It's so enrapturous. It's so wonderful. So I highly encourage you to take part. And right now, for a limited time, from August 17th through September 25th, you can actually go and see the Molech in person right now at Three Dots in downtown State College. That is the wonderful nonprofit community organization that brings people in together and just provides space for such wonderful creativity. So, I hope to see you, your memories, and your monstrousness become one with the Molech. Looking for a monstrous keepsake for your loved one? How about a monster on demand?
I was just so amazed just how many elements, personal elements, he got into this one photograph.
I turn your loved ones, pets, even yourself into highly detailed, personalized monster images.
The teeth! The teeth surprised me!
Order yours today at therealmonsterd.com.
My kids came over and they could immediately tell who was who.
And now enjoy the summer sale! All monster classes and monsters on demand are half price for a limited time only. The Boogieman. This mythical figure has taken on so many forms throughout time. Everything from Freddy Krueger to the Babadook to that strange hooved version in the real Ghostbusters, right down to the Molok, in a certain sense. Well, the Boogieman is no stranger to music, for sure, and no, I am not here to talk to you about that song from Casey and the Sunshine Band or the White Zombie remake. I'm going to talk to you about a frighteningly fun little album by Alice Cooper called The Last Temptation. This album is filled with songs rife with various fears that one might undergo. Everything from being poked fun at with a song called Sideshow to worrying about when and how you're going to have to pay for something and nothing's free, to being lost in America, all the way down the line to a little song called Lullaby. This song is a perfect blend of horror with a little bit of comedy thrown in. You see, this whole song is all about a child, essentially a conversation between a child and this sort of under the bed and in the closet tormentor. And there's sort of back and forth interplay where this creature is definitely trying to creep out this poor little person who may or may not be named Steven. And, you know, the attempts of this little boy to essentially dissuade and send away this version of the Boogeyman. What's more is, as creepy and fun as this song is, it makes some fun references in there. You know, there's this long sort of spoken word diatribe where Alice is just rattling off sort of insult after insult after insult, and inside there he uses the term pea soup spewing. For those not in the know, the old horror film The Exorcist, there was a famous scene where to reenact a sort of demonized vomit scene, actual split pea soup was used as the sort of stunt substance. Anyway, so it references that. But going even further, just 2 tracks down, Lullaby is finished up with a song called Cleansed by Fire. And this is the perfect way to finalize a song and a story about the Boogeyman. It actually sort of turns the tide so that you no longer are scared of the Boogeyman himself, but the protagonist becomes the object of wrath, the exactor of vengeance. It's a perfect sort of back and forth all the way around. So, yes. And the funny thing about The Last Temptation is it actually comes right after a tail end sort of post-song lyric in the previous album, which was Hey Stupid, the very bottom there was a song called Wind Up Toy. And at the very, very end, Steven was referenced. And that was a direct lead into this album. And why is that important? Well, because Steven was the child protagonist of Alice's hallowed classic album, Welcome to My Nightmare. So, The Last Temptation, in my mind, is essentially a sequel to Welcome to My Nightmare, which is funny because many, many years later, he would actually create an album called Welcome to My Nightmare. But in my eye, The Last Temptation was the true sequel to Welcome to My Nightmare. So I highly recommend giving this whole album a try. This album was actually my favorite Alice Cooper album for quite some time. So definitely go back, give it a try. Perhaps crawl under your covers with a flashlight and maybe a little stolen popcorn and listen to Lullaby and Cleanse by Fire. Looking for a monstrous keepsake for your loved one? How about a monster on demand?
I was just so amazed just how many elements, personal elements he got into this one photograph.
I turn your loved ones, pets, even yourself into highly detailed, personalized monster images.
The teeth! The teeth surprised me!
Order yours today at therealmonsterd.com.
My kids came over and they could immediately tell who was who.
And now enjoy the summer sale! All monster classes and monsters on demand are half price for a limited time only. Welcome to the drawing challenge. Are you ready to boogie? I thought it would be different and interesting to create a monster with some items that I found around the monster lair. So some of these have some sentiments, some memories attached to them. This is a candle that was created by Deborah Levine, the metal songstress of Lady Beast. I also have with me this sort of strange sort of crate material, which I was originally going to use as roofing for some buildings in one of my miniature sets. I opted not to. I also have an empty ink cartridge, as well as the eyeball from one of my puppets, which demolished one of the miniature sets. So these are going to be my little pieces of inspiration. Yeah. So I am going to set my time-telling device for 5 minutes. And we're off. Let me see what I can do. All right, so creating a random stuff monster. This actually sort of reminds me of a childhood memory when myself and an elementary school friend of mine, what, are you surprised that I actually went to a human school with other humans? It happened. We played this thing that we called Things in Our Desk. And we just sort of gathered erasers and funny pencils and all sorts of things. And we had these little sort of wars with them, if you will. They would sort of battle each other. They had different powers. I cannot pretend to recall the ultimate goal of this game other than just being creative with the things in our desk, but that was something that we did. And that also probably is a confession that I, in fact, did have a messy desk as a young child. So, yes. So now, I'm going to create. It's going to be interesting to have this thing that is sort of a little bit kind of robotic and a little bit organic at the same time. All right. I'm going to increase these lines and their size a bit. There we go. And then I'm going to give a feeling of that sort of I just keep calling it roofing, even though I never use it as roofing, because that was what I wanted to use it for. That is what it became to me. Do you have any items like that? Some things that maybe you just can't quite figure out a name for, so you just make up your own name, and then somewhere down the line you hear the real name, you go, I like the name I gave more. Have you ever done that? And it is interesting to think about all the different items one could use to create a monster with, is it not? And that is not limited to sort of amateurs. Pros did that all the time. In Toho, the creators of Godzilla, they were famous for creating some interesting effects with items they found around, like the monster Varan. He was created using a mold that was imprinted with peanuts. Just regular peanuts were used. And then, yeah, just a humble, simple little peanut. And then you go into something like Star Wars, even the first prequel, Phantom Menace. I remember there being a scene that was supposed to be a waterfall that was actually just used. They used sand to create the illusion of water. And also in that movie, and I know it's not everyone's favorite, but there were some interesting effects in it. In the pod race scene, all the various spectators in the crowd were actually matchsticks. In the far off distance, when they really were not the focus, they were just a bunch of painted, actually not matchsticks, but like Q-tips for your ears. Interesting, huh? All right, I feel like I have to go out of my way to make this thing a little more monstrous. Right now, it just looks strange. Okay. So I'm just going to create a little bit of shading in there. Try to highlight the more forefront stuff. A little bit of shading there. And then, let me see. Oh, I want to use my red to create that red eye. I know the pyramid is red too, but I'm going to eschew making that red as well to make the eye stand out just a little bit more. And then I have not silver in my immediate vicinity, so I'm going to use another metallic color to highlight that. There we go. Uh-oh. All right. So, let me just sign this fellow. And there we go. Let me move that. What do you think? Is that the stuff found in the monster lair monstrous enough? Was it enough to create a monster? What sort of things might you have around your lair to create a monster with? Feel free to let me know. Feel free to try. Perhaps you could even create a stuff around my house monster and post your picture on my Facebook or Instagram pages. That would be wonderful to see. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed not only this drawing, but the video entire. If you have, please do claw that like button and toll that bell so you can be ready, willing, and salivating for the very next episode of The Real Monster D. Stay monstrous!